Just a reminder that all proceeds from our channel are donated to charity. Please help us help others by giving us a thumbs up, commenting, or subscribing to our channel. Your support makes a difference. Hey, it's Luxury Travel Docs here today, and welcome to the Seabourn Venture. We boarded this luxury expedition ship for a 13-day Antarctica exploration in late November of 2024. The Seabourn Venture is a luxury Polar Class 6 expedition ship, and it launched in late 2022. And we actually saw this ship in early 2023 when we were on a Viking Chilean Fjords cruise. It pulled up next to us in Ushuaia, and we thought it was just a gorgeous ship. So we knew that when we decided to go to Antarctica, that this would be our choice. We have 259 passengers on board. There are 238 crew. We started this trip in Buenos Aires, where we met the Seabourn representatives. We flew to Ushuaia and boarded the ship there. And from there, we started our round-trip journey to Antarctica. This is our ultimate packing guide for an Antarctica expedition cruise. Today, we'll walk you through everything you need to know to prepare for your adventure. Most expedition cruises have similar conditions regardless of the cruise line, so these tips will be helpful no matter who you sail with. This guide is based on our experience, and we'll say this many times. We took this trip in late November, which is early in the season. We'll include links to many of the products we took, and the full list of items can be found in the video description. These are affiliate links. We earn from links like this, and as we said earlier, donate the proceeds to charity. Thank you so much for your support. In this video, we'll cover pre-packing tips, the power of layering, what expedition gear was provided, what gear we brought, what we didn't use, and what we wished we had, what we wore on board, shoes we packed, what we wore in Buenos Aires for our included first night before our charter flight to Ushuaia, how to get inspired by other passengers, packing tips including details about our luggage on the charter flight, and even more helpful advice. So let's get to it. Before you pack for your Antarctica expedition cruise, let's address one thing you don't need to overthink: checking the weather. Why? Because on the Antarctic Peninsula, it's fairly consistent day to day, though it will feel cold for most passengers. For our late November cruise, temperatures were in the range of 28 to 36 degrees Fahrenheit. Depending on the time of year, you might experience slightly warmer conditions, which we'll detail in a moment. But keep in mind, weather in Antarctica can change in an instant. A cloudy sky or windy conditions can make it feel much colder, so it's important to be prepared. For most cruises, AccuWeather is our go-to for checking the forecast at home before we leave. It's excellent for planning, offering extended forecasts that show average temperatures for your travel dates. However, on an expedition cruise to Antarctica, AccuWeather is less helpful. Why? Because you won't always know exactly where your ship will be until shortly before arrival, and many Antarctic locations don't have detailed weather reporting on AccuWeather. That said, AccuWeather is still useful for preparing to pack. For example, you can check the weather in Buenos Aires and Ushuaia, common starting points for Antarctic cruises, as well as get an idea of average Antarctic temperatures for your travel dates. If you want to use it for the average Antarctica temperatures, we recommend inputting Cuvier Island or landing. Just be sure to select the one in Antarctica, as there are other places named Cuvier around the world. AccuWeather is a great tool for planning well in advance of your cruise, but as your departure date approaches, windy.com becomes an even more valuable resource. This interactive weather forecasting site is particularly useful for expedition cruising. It allows you to explore broad regions and focus on specific details like temperature, wind patterns, and wave heights. For example, while preparing for our Drake Passage crossing, we found windy.com indispensable for tracking wind and wave trends. Windy offers a free 7-day forecast, and if you're looking for longer-term predictions, there's a premium option available that provides you 2 weeks of data. They also have apps for both iPhone and Android, making it easy to check conditions on the go. We recommend spending a little time familiarizing yourself with windy.com before your trip. It's a powerful tool that expedition teams use themselves. On our Seabourn cruise, the expedition team shared the next day's forecast every evening, referencing windy.com. It helped us understand the conditions we might encounter and how they influence the team's choice of safe, sheltered locations for landings. Layering is essential on an expedition cruise, and here's why. When you leave Buenos Aires, you'll experience summer temperatures that can reach the 80s or even 90s. But by the time you arrive in Ushuaia, the change is dramatic. Expect temperatures in the 40s to 50s, often accompanied by a chilly wind. On the ship itself, it's typically warm and comfortable inside, but you may want to run outside quickly to catch a glimpse of wildlife or take in a stunning sunset. Having a warm layer with you while moving around on board is essential for these moments. During an expedition outing itself, conditions can vary widely in just one day. You might feel cold while riding in a Zodiac boat to a landing site, but after climbing a hillside, you'll find yourself getting warm quickly. Being able to unzip or remove layers makes a huge difference in staying comfortable, but the climbs are worth the views. We'll highlight specific layering items when we dive into what we packed. Seabourn provides a complimentary Polar Shield parka set for every guest, which includes a parka, beanie, and waterproof pack. About 4 weeks before your departure, you'll receive an email prompting you to pre-order your set online through the Seabourn Adventure Outfitter website. The items will be delivered directly to your suite and waiting on the sofa upon your arrival. If the size isn't quite right, no need to worry. There's an onboard session where you can try on alternate sizes and make exchanges as needed, and each guest receives 2 stainless steel water bottles with carabiners for use during excursions. You won't need to pack boots for the expedition portion of your cruise. On our Seabourn voyage, the cruise line provided warm, comfortable, muck-style, waterproof winter boots for all passengers. There was a fitting session on board where we were encouraged to wear the socks we planned to use. We also brought our snow pants to ensure they fit over the boots, as the boots are tall and reach up to the upper calf. One of us had a slimmer pair of snow pants, and they fit over the boots without issue. It's important that your pants fit over the boots to prevent snow from falling inside, which could leave your feet cold and wet when walking through deeper snow. We brought a pair of gaiters as an extra precaution to keep snow out, but we didn't end up using them since our pants fit comfortably over the boots. Now let's talk about the layers we brought for our cruise, covering everything we wore and the items we didn't end up using. We started with thermal base layers from Costco, specifically the 32 Degrees brand. Each of us brought 2 pairs, allowing for layering if it got too cold or to have a clean pair while the other was drying. For our late November cruise, 1 layer was enough most days. Underneath, we wore 2 pairs of socks each day, thick merino wool ski socks. These are great for their warmth, length, and padded shins. If your feet tend to stay warm, 1 pair might suffice, as the Seabourn provided boots are quite insulated. For pants, she wore fleece-lined, waterproof snow pants, while he opted for waterproof ski pants without fleece by Helly Hansen. Both were warm and comfortable for sitting and moving around. Though we brought extra layers like fleece-lined leggings for added warmth, we didn't end up needing them. On top, we each had zippered fleece jackets. She brought 2 options, lighter one from Amazon and a heavier one from LL Bean. Depending on the day's activities like a colder Zodiac ride or a warmer land hike, each came in handy. Remember, Zodiac cruises tend to feel much colder, while walking or climbing on land can make you warm quickly. The Seabourn provided Helly Hansen hats were adequate for most days. However, if your ears tend to get cold, you might want to bring a heavier wool hat, like the one she brought with longer ear coverage. Every day, we wore both layers of the provided Seabourn jacket, a black thermal liner, and a yellow waterproof outer shell. On one of our climbing days, we could have skipped one of the fleece or jacket layers, but unzipping as we climbed worked well. The personal flotation device goes over everything, and you'll put it on just before heading to the landing zone. For gloves, we brought options. On warmer days, she used waterproof touchscreen gloves. For colder days, we both use merino wool glove liners under waterproof ski gloves. He sometimes removed the liners on warmer days. Glove tethers were a lifesaver when we needed to take gloves off for photos. Another option to consider is fold-back mittens, though they're usually not fully waterproof, so keep that in mind. We found we really needed waterproof gloves on most days. We brought a turtle fur neck gaiter for windy and snowy conditions, but often found it a bit bulky. A thinner merino wool buff would have been a better choice. Most of the time, the high neck on our fleece jackets was sufficient to keep our necks warm. For our faces, sunglasses worked well on most days, but ski goggles were fantastic for colder Zodiac outings. If you're sensitive to wind, consider goggles or wraparound sunglasses like the Goodar brand a friend of ours used. We've already covered what Seabourn provides, including the boots, but it's important to note that when dressing for the typically twice-daily expedition outings, you'll need your own shoes to get from your room to the landing zone and back. The muck-style boots provided by Seabourn generally remain in the landing zone to minimize the risk of spreading contamination to and from wildlife. You'll want shoes that are easy to slip on and off, as you'll already be dressed in your gear. And the landing zone can get a bit crowded during Zodiac departures. Some passengers wear their Seabourn slippers, but for us, she wore her Ugg boots, which were cozy after a cold outing, and he opted for slip-on sneakers. Keep in mind that whatever you choose to wear may get slightly wet. We brought a couple items we didn't end up using, like boot gaiters and a full balaclava. The one thing we wish we had brought was a merino wool buff. While there is a lovely boutique on board stocked with gear from Helly Hansen and some Amundsen items, such as gloves, liners, base layers, snow pants, and buffs, we prefer not to rely on finding what we need in the right size, as items can sell out quickly. Here are a few miscellaneous suggested packing items. First, don't forget essentials like sunscreen, lip balm, and a heavy-duty lotion. While the molten brown toiletries provided by Seabourn are nice, they aren't strong enough to handle the dry, cold conditions that can really affect your skin. If you have mobility challenges, we recommend bringing your own hiking poles. Landings can be slippery, and while the expedition team supplies wooden poles, they might run out by the time your group arrives. We prefer foldable, lightweight aluminum or carbon fiber poles for easy packing and carrying. Many passengers brought their own, and it made a big difference. Lastly, if you have specialized camera equipment, consider packing your own personal dry bag. While Seabourn does provide backpack dry bags, we wouldn't rely on them for delicate or high-value gear. Clothing on board was honestly very casual. While some passengers dressed nicely in the evenings, think dresses or sport coats, this wasn't the norm. The schedule is busy with twice-daily expeditions, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Plus, there's an expedition recap every evening at 6 p.m., and often you're not back on the ship for long before that starts. So the time to dress up? Not much. During the day, we wore activewear, something practical for moving around and layering. In the evenings, we kept it simple. For her, slacks paired with a blouse or sweater and flats or low-heeled boots. For him, slacks or nice jeans with a sweater or a winter half-zip. Here's what we packed for footwear. For her, running shoes, wedge boots, Ilse Jacobsen flats, Donald Pliner, ballet flats, casual sneakers for daytime, and Ugg boots for going to and from the landing zone and wearing around the ship. For him, running shoes and Cole Haan Oxfords. Heels weren't practical, especially in rougher waters like during the Drake Passage crossing, so we'd recommend leaving them at home. A wrap, sweater, or lightweight jacket is nice to bring along to dinner if you want to step outside to see wildlife or a sunset. For outdoor events like those occasionally held on Aft Deck 5 near the pool, you'll want warmer shoes and a jacket. The black Seabourn jacket liner worked perfectly for these occasions, especially since the deck heaters aren't very effective unless you're directly under them. And don't worry about overpacking. With laundry service available for a fee and complimentary launderettes on board, it's easy to re-wear and refresh your clothes throughout the trip. Keep in mind that Buenos Aires will be warmer at the start of your trip, so pack clothing appropriate for the number of days you'll spend there. Checking the weather forecast before you leave will help you plan. During our visit, daytime temperatures reached up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, while evenings cooled down to around 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Bringing a wrap or sweater for the cooler evenings is a good idea. As we mentioned earlier, when you fly from Buenos Aires to Ushuaia, you'll experience a dramatic drop in temperature. In the next section, we'll share our tips for packing everything you'll need for this transition. Here's one last tip on what to wear. Take a look at Seabourn's advertisements. They often show what other passengers are wearing on board. Also, in addition to watching videos like this one, consider joining online communities like Cruise Critic or Facebook groups. These are fantastic resources for finding helpful information and getting your questions answered if you're ever unsure about anything. Compression packing cubes or bags are game changers for travel, especially when packing bulky clothing for colder destinations like Antarctica. They help maximize space and keep your suitcase organized. Just remember, while you can fit more, your luggage might get heavier. To keep your luggage manageable, take advantage of the laundry services or complimentary launderettes available on all Seabourn cruises. This makes it easy to rewear your favorite outfits without overpacking. Focus on versatile pieces you can mix and match to save space. Since you'll likely spend at least one night in Buenos Aires, where the temperatures are much warmer, we recommend packing separate cubes or carry-on bag just for your Buenos Aires essentials. For our trip, we packed one large backpack, a U.S. domestic-size roller bag, and a smaller backpack for Buenos Aires-specific items. Seabourn will provide detailed requirements for the charter flight between Buenos Aires and Ushuaia, so you can weigh your checked bags at home ahead of time. On board, the expedition desk has a scale you can use for the return trip. While no one weighed or measured our carry-ons, they easily fit into the overhead bins or under the seat. We hope you found our ultimate packing guide for an Antarctica expedition cruise inspired by our November 2024 adventure helpful. If you have any questions, additional tips, or suggestions, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Stay tuned for more videos about this incredible journey, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss a thing. Always remember to make meaningful and healthy travel happen, and we'll see you next time.